Hi, all. Welcome to yet another episode of I Am, where we feature individuals who have made it up the ladder there and, of course, created a brand for themselves. So, today, too, we have with an individual with us who is no stranger to anyone. Well, he is, of course, Harpo Gooneratne, CEO and founder of Harpo's Cafes and Restaurants. Great to have you with us
Yeah.
on the show, I Am. How are you?
Good, very good. Good morning to all of you guys.
Good to see you as well. Thank you
Thank,
very much, first and
yeah.
foremost, for joining with us on this series. Well, Harpo, this is actually a segment where we try to teach individuals in terms of, the lessons learned,
Okay.
then, of course, how things happened, how did this whole thing start. So I'll start off with the very first question. How would you like yourself being defined out there? How would you like the people out there to define the individual by the name of Harpo?
I would say an easygoing type of person. Loves loves people and loves the hospitality business, helping out on the less fortunate people, and loving animals for sure. And an easygoing guy, I would say.
I think that's a very catchy line. An easygoing guy, definitely. I think even with the first conversation we had just before this whole thing started off, felt it that chemistry was definitely working out there. Talking about hospitality, I would like to go back to the roots to
Okay.
start off this conversation with. Something which really triggered was I was into the entertainment business, but then this is how it all started. We'll go even delve deeper into this.
Right.
How did the growing up character of Harpo, how did it all build up?
It was camp. I studied at St. Thomas's. Played a bit of sports in college for sure. Did a cricket and bit of rugby and stuff like that. And the hospitality business is something I really wanted to get into. I love people, and so it was something I always wanted to get into. So while I was studying and doing my hotel school, I had an opportunity to go and become a DJ. And that time nobody knew what a DJ was in 1980. And so I used to play music on the South Coast. And that time, in the 80s, 81s, the tourism industry was booming. And it was a part-time job, and I needed a bit of pocket money, and there I was going down south, finishing my studies, and taking a bus, and then getting on a push cycle, and obviously going from hotel to hotel with records on my haversack and playing music till late 2-3 in the morning, coming back, catching the first bus back, and getting back to school. So that was how it was, and it never stopped since then.
It never stopped since then. Growing up, did you know that there was this passion within you? Like, how did you figure out which industry to get into at the start?
Like I said before, just something I wanted to. I was never a guy who's going to sit behind a desk and push a pen on a. So it was something I wanted to always be on the floor, be with people. So I thought hospitality at that time, it was a good industry to be in. Of course, after '83, it took a serious dip, but that's something I always wanted to do, and I have that has been my passion, and it will always remain my passion.
Going around the south, you said following in the journey of a DJ, because that was quite a strange term back then.
Yeah, it was totally strange.
Totally strange. How did you adapt into that whole environment and get into the minds and hearts of people?
Yeah, so we used to play music, and that time, like I said, there were lots of foreigners, lots of tourists around. So we used to play music to them, and it was good fun because they knew the music we were dropping on the records, and they're coming from Europe, and we're having the new records here as well, and they liked it, and it was fun for them, it was fun for me, as I said, and it was a great experience. I mean, playing music in that era down in the south, it was a great experience to me.
I can picture this whole individual Harpo back then at that time, of course, entertaining people.
Yeah.
From that business, as in DJing in the South to entertaining people, today you have built a great chain of cafes and restaurants. How did that whole turn take across?
You see, so just tracking back, when I finished my hotel school, I joined the Renaissance at that time, which is now Cinema and Lakeside, and I was a DJ at the library, and from there I moved on and I became the entertainment manager, and I was one of the first entertainment managers the country scene, and it was all under foreign management at that time, So the hospitality entertainment kind of clicked together, and from there onward it just moved on. I worked at the Renaissance for 10 years, I think, and it of course changed hands. It became Transasia and various changes happened. Then I moved across to the Hilton and I went as business development manager, co-entertainment manager. And from there, I moved across to WTC, working for Hilton International. And then I was a part of the pre-opening of the Delhi Market restaurant at that time. And we were going to set up something on the 36th and 37th floor of WTC, but that never happened due to unavoidable circumstances when the bomb was, when the truck was planted out, the whole thing blew out. And that never happened. And since then, I've been involved in various other projects, which is Excel World today. That was one of the first things I did,
Yes.
And then from there, I moved to China, worked in China with the Hiltons there as a consultant, came into Osaka Hilton as a consultant on entertainment. And then I moved back to Sri Lanka in 2004, joined as a general manager now. I was here from a DJ,
Yes, definitely that.
And I came to Chris Cat, and I was the general manager there. And 2004, I set up my own company. It was called Harpo Productions, and it was rebranded St. Harpo's Cafe and Restaurant, because Harpo Productions was Oprah Winfrey. If you look at it, flip it on the other side.
Oh, okay.
So I was said, no, you can't call it Harpo Productions, And that's the start of the journey,
From DJ to all the way up to the general manager position, then starting off your own business.
Yeah.
How was this whole flip from being a general manager, which is of course a top-notch post, and risk would have been at its peak?
Yeah, you can
How
say
did
that.
that decision?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. In 2004, when I resigned, that was the year tsunami hit. That was the tsunami year, and holy God, what I had done! I resigned from a corporate environment, but something I always believed in is something that you got to be positive for anything you do. You got to be positive. And I was positive, and I thought, okay, and I had built a good culture of people. People knew who I was by that time. The brand Harpo was out there at that time, and people came and supported me, and they yet support me, which was you can call it nerve-wracking at that time, but nothing's easy. Yes, you have your ups and downs, but staying positive, staying focused, and after the tsunami, then you had. The war ended in 2009. We have seen the JVP, we have seen the tsunami, we have seen the war end, we have seen the Easter Sunday, we have seen COVID, we have seen the whole thing,
All of it.
All of it, from our generation as well, And it's just fighting the fires and moving forward, and obviously having a good team behind you. You can be a successful person if you believe in what you want to do.
Definitely. Believe in yourself, and then you can create wonders, they say. I would like to ask this question because especially even people watching us right now have this within themselves, but they're scared to make a move in terms of entrepreneurship, as in starting off their own business and getting into that. You as an individual who has been in the top-notch position in terms of corporate, and now you are here doing your own thing. Any piece of advice for these individuals?
You see, you need to take risk. Like I said, you need to be positive. But there's this new norm where everyone wants to be a startup. We were all startups. Being a startup, fine. But knowing exactly what you want to do. A lot of people change their course. I want to do this, and it's not working. Then you do this. So you just staying focused on what you want to do. And I would say, go ahead, take the risk, do it, but stay focused and be positive. And at the end of the day, you're going to reap the benefits for sure.
That's for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Some good advice, of course, coming in from Harpo there. Working with the team isn't easy, they say, because you have to manage your team very well, and of course working with people is the main thing, so that the end product out there is shining and doing really great.
True.
How does managing people work for you?
You see, probably I'm gifted in that end. Most of my people who are with me right now have been with me for many, many years. I would talk 10 years plus. And I'm good with people. I understand people because we came from there. So we know the journey, what the journey has been. And it's always good to communicate with your team. So I always have an open door policy when it comes to with my team, and we communicate a lot, and we go through, their problems, our problems, and it was a good experience actually working with them during the COVID 18 months or 19 months. You open, you shut down, it was a tough time. Definitely. And actually got to know them better, and, the team has actually seen the worst of it, and I'm gifted being a people's person, I think, so that has been a positive thing for me.
Definitely. A people's person is, of course, a gift from above.
Yes, absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I would agree with you 100%.
Also, Harpo, I would like to ask you this question because a lot of people, they definitely, even you, it was a roller coaster ride for you, with ups and downs and
Yeah.
taking risk and all of it. So, which means you have your success points and your failure, of course. How would you see failure, and how would you definitely overcome this factor, which is failure, affecting you?
Yeah, so in my business, in the hospitality business, with the hotels, I had no problem. I worked through it. But in business, yes, I had one or two issues. Where you go and I work a lot from the gut feeling. So where we have opened up maybe one or two properties which really didn't operate well, and that was a failure for me. And I learned from that, and I have moved on from that, So it's a matter of just putting it on the back burner, and not go on about it, just being positive and just keep it back and say, okay, that didn't work. Let's take the next thing and let's see how that works. So you gotta any successful person has experienced failure.
That's true.
And taking failure and learning lessons from the failure is how you can move forward and probably become successful at the end of the day. So it's an experience, but it's something I've learned.
Learning through your experiences,
Absolutely.
and of course facing each failure
Yeah.
successfully and overcoming it.
Absolutely,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Now, when you try to do something new, for an example, you started your life as a DJ, so that is also something new to the industry. But then a lot of people may have drawbacks, and they might start pelting stones at you. For an example, saying, "I don't think it's good for you." Maybe even from your early ages, no, Harpo, this is not a good industry for you to be in. These must have been
Oh, for
something.
sure. I had a lot of that.
Yeah. How did you face all of it? Like, for an example, even youngsters, they might want to get into fashion industry, for an
Yeah.
example, but
Yeah.
their parents will be like, you know what, no, this is not something good for a girl, something
Yeah.
good for a boy. How would you, in your case, getting into
Yeah, so I had that.
yeah.
Yeah, so at that time, nobody really knew what DJ was. And, like I said, the private radio stations opened up, and there it became a mainstay job for people, And I'm happy to see the industry has grown, and you have great DJs who are performing on big stages right around the world. And Sri Lankans doing really well for themselves, they're DJs. And like I said, it's a profession now, but anything takes time,
Yes.
So we shouldn't, bang about what happened in the 80s, and let's move forward and, let's enjoy it,
Definitely live in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, Harpo, I would like to ask you, do you have regrets in your life to say that, oh, I should have done this at this age, I would have done this at this age? Any regrets that you still think about?
Yeah, I would say, probably not being able to play cricket at the highest level for college. The 100th Battle of the Blues, something I wanted to play. I went up to the second 11 cricket. That's something I really think about a lot, But I don't mopo it, but, that's something. But other than that, I have no regrets other than that, I mean, I'm very content in what I have, and I'm very happy with what's around me. And I'm lucky to be where I am today,
Definitely. Of course, why not? Also, I would like to ask this question from you. They say that, in terms of stress management, this whole word which builds up in the corporate or even in individuality, they might even think about the word stress. How would you handle stress? How do you define this word as stress?
You see, hospitality business is a 24/7, 365,
Yes.
And you can ask any chef anywhere from New York to London, or chef own a Kum restaurant. It's a stressful job, You go with the flow, and especially with the last 18 months or whatever has been a very stressful time for the hospitality industry. You see, what happens is the hospitality industry is the first industry which gets hammered, The garment industry works, the construction works, the health sector works, but when it comes to the hospitality sector, it's affected for anything for that matter,
True.
But working on it, so it's stressful, so there are the high points of stress, and you're like, oh, what am I going to do? But you got this team around you who we communicate with, and we come up with solutions. And stress, you have it in any job. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
And it's how each individual handle it. But I think I handle it pretty well.
Yes.
I don't go off the cuff, but I do it. I mean, you tend to go off the cuff, but working around it.
A good mechanism in terms of anger management as well.
Yeah, I can flip at times, but I'm very quick to recover.
That's a very good quality.
Yeah,
Yes.
very quick to recover.
You were stressed on the 18 months period of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
18 months, I think, worst we've seen in
Yeah.
terms of everything happened, but
Yeah.
it recovered quite fast. But this period has been prolonging and still continuing.
You see, 18 months was a long time for our
Yes,
industry to be shut down,
that's true.
and we were basically shut down,
Yes.
and we had staff, we had to look after their welfare as well, But let's not go back about that, there's no point. Yes, we are going through a patch again, but I think we have learned a lot from the past 18 months, and I think we are, as responsible individuals, we should be able to, focus and see what we should be doing going forward, and consolidating our businesses, and understanding what went wrong, and moving forward. So that's very, very important for us right now.
Any special mechanisms put into place by you and your team in order to face such situations in the future?
Yeah, so something what we have done is, right now, if you look at cost escalation in the hospitality industry,
Yes.
is from raw material to everything is going up in price, fighting with the gas, fighting with this, fighting with that
That's true.
person,
Yes.
But, we are managing to cope up with this, obviously understanding, trimming your menus down,
Yes.
bringing your costs down in various other factors, procurementing and all that kind of thing plays a big role right now, because, it's tough time we're going through, we're going through COVID, we're going through various other things. Also, the cost escalations on hospitality is moving up. We're also going to have a huge HR drain in this country when it comes to hospitality. A lot of people are leaving the country, going to the Middle East, or
Yes.
going to other countries, because the hospitality sector is opening up for them,
That's true.
And so Sri Lanka at some point of time is going to have a bit of an issue. I mean, they're already facing issues finding good chefs and finding trained people, So that is something, we're going to be faced with, no sooner or later.
That's, of course, a
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
hit on the.
Absolutely. You get a lot of young people who are moving off to Qatar, for example.
true.
The games are on,
Yes.
and everyone's going there. So what do? And nobody wants to get into the hospitality industry because they know it's not an easy industry to be in. It's a 12-hour, 16-hour job, And like I said previously, it's the first industry that gets hammered if there's a problem, So people are looking for other things, People have gone back to their villages, setting up their own businesses, doing their own thing, and saying, okay, this is much better than us, working long hours.
Definitely. And of course, not an easy industry to be in. Like
No,
you
it's
said,
not.
it's one of
You
the
got to love this industry. You got to, if you don't love hospitality, you shouldn't be getting into hospitality. Because they're dealing with people. And so that is important.
And especially, I think it's a very timely question for me to ask you as well. In terms of being in the hospitality industry, which you said is a round the clock job, but of course, how does this work-life balance come into play?
I mean, if you're asking how my family takes it,
Yes.
I mean, my wife's used to it. My daughter's in the hospitality business, so I mean, it's been in my blood, and so there's actually no problem with that. That's the last thing I worry about, So I know how to balance it, so it's perfect.
Any tips of how you should be balancing for anyone watching us right now in the same industry?
No, it's just making your wife or partner understand, what you're into, and knowing that you're enjoying it, and
That's true.
and getting on with life, that's important. But spending time with family is important. Spending time with your parents are important, and knowing to get the correct balance,
Balance it all very well,
Yeah,
then you
so-
can
Yeah,
go
so
there.
yeah, absolutely.
Growing up, they have this. There's this whole concept being built in terms of a role model, they would say, or I have been influenced by this individual. In the life of Harpo, was there a role model that you looked up to, or were you influenced by anyone to be here today?
You see, my parents were a huge role model for me. My dad and my mom. My mom, actually, she's yet around. My dad was a huge influence on me in the sense, he taught me what is right, what is wrong, being straight in anything you do, And yes, from the hospitality industry, I had the late Gamini Fernando, who was a huge inspiration to me. He knew what hospitality was when it came to people and getting around and PR part. It was the late Gabo Piris who actually put me into the music industry, and he and I were good friends, and I learned a lot from him. And he's someone I'll always look up to, and the hospitality and Mr. Fernando, internationally, you had people like Richard Branson and them who were just records. He used to sell records, Virgin Records, and today where he is today,
Yeah.
And I like what he says: you look after the people you look after your customers.
That's true.
Which is so true,
Very true.
And a lot of people should practice that. If I look after my staff, they're in return going to look after my people who come through my door, And he's a great influence. See what he has done, gone to space. Just with Virgin Records, brilliant.
Definitely a great guy out there. And I would like to also ask you, if not for a DJ, if not for an entertainer, if not for a individual in the hospitality trade, what would have Harpo been?
Oh, I don't see myself being anywhere else. Yeah, probably. I would like to do probably be a planter or something. On a tea estate. Because I used to grow up on a tea estate. Every holidays we used to, our school holidays used to end up on a tea estate, and I like that life.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's in my blood, hospitality.
Nothing beats that for sure.
Nothing beats that.
Future plans? Got any future plans? Anything in the pipeline there?
Yeah, so right now we are into the production of our production kitchen is expanding. We are looking at going into more building our line of dry goods and stuff of that nature. We are in the supermarket business. We want to expand our pizzerias business, and at some point in time we are also looking at moving our brand overseas, and we see that somewhere in the pipeline, no sooner or later.
That's great. Wishing you and your team all the very best
Thank
to
you
achieve
very
all
much.
those goals and, of course, reach greater heights in
Thanks.
days, months, and years to come.
Thank you very much.
To end up things, also, I would like to ask you this question. If you're given a chance to lead the country, is there any few factors that you would like to change or implement? This is the Harpo style.
First and foremost, privatize all these loss-making government institutions, right? Have honest politicians, which is a very tough one to find these days. Make sure your health sector is looked after. Make sure your education is looked after, which is the most important thing, and being able to be honest in whatever you do to the country, having a clear path and a clear mandate. I would think those are important things, And as a country, it's a beautiful country. We have everything we have in this, other than snow, which you're also having now in Norelia.
Yes.
From a hospitality point of view, we have everything, And it's such a little country, but it has, not really progressed in the way it should have progressed, where other countries in the region have progressed, like Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, and countries of that nature. So it boils down to that, really.
Some good mechanisms and plans in place. Now, all of these plans to be implemented, if you're given the chance, would you take up power?
No, I'm not interested in that. I like to work from the back end, and you see, you have to have professionals running places.
That's right. Very true.
You're a professional in what you do,
Yes.
So you have to have professional people running each institute. That is important. Today it's not that. A guy who doesn't know anything about whatever, of education or wherever, he's just put into that, because he has to,
Very true.
look at the powers to be, I'm not blaming anybody, but that's the system.
Yes.
But if you have professional, look at countries like Singapore, and they have professional, qualified people in parliament.
That's true.
And they run the country. They get paid well. That's the most important thing. So you need to have professionals in each sector who are qualified people and who love what they do.
Well, that's Harpo's take on that particular question which I asked. We sum things down to the final question, and I would like to ask you, is there a message that you would like to give out to the up and coming individual out there who would aspire to be someone like you one day?
Yeah, I would say just stay positive. First identify what your likings are. Stay positive. The road's not easy. It's a very bumpy road, but staying focused and working around things. And today the younger folk are very lucky because the internet is there, so your creative aspects also become very easy, not like when we started our businesses. But staying focused and loving what you do, I would think will make you a success.
Well, I think that was amazing. Some great advice, some great tips coming out from industry legend, I would say, and wishing you all the very best. And thank you very much for taking time off and being with us and sharing those lovely words with me, with the audience today. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for
Thank you
having
very
me on the
much,
show.
and all the very best to you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that we wrap. I am. Thank you very much. We'll see you again next time with another individual sharing his or her own perspective and some great tips. Until then, take care.